Hello everybody, this is Albert with Green Tea House. I hope you're doing well today. Today we're talking about teas and tisanes that you can drink in the evening that won't affect your sleep. Now before I begin, I highly recommend you check out our back catalog of episodes, in particular the Fundamentals of Tea, which has episodes on what is black tea, what is yellow tea, what are the different teas we get from the Camellia-sinensis plant, and I'll also put some germane episodes up here. So, some people like to drink tea at night. Like think of chai, right? Chai, which is masala chai. Chai is really, you're saying chai tea, you say tea tea, but other way, think of chai. Chai is a really robust black tea with cinnamon and cardamom and ginger and cloves, and you put milk and sugar. It's such a great drink to drink at night or to drink in the winter time, but it has caffeine. So what can people drink at night that tastes really good but maybe won't affect your sleep? Now, everybody is different. Some people, I always joke about teenagers, they can drink like 4 cups of coffee at 10 p.m. and be asleep in an hour. And then others, you're wired all night. So understand, like this episode, you got to put it in context. These are for people who have problems going to sleep on caffeine. Me in particular, I don't drink anything caffeinated, and I haven't had coffee in 30 years. So when I mean drink caffeinated, it's tea. I don't drink any tea after 3 o'clock. It's just because I am sensitive to caffeine. So what can you drink at night that's not going to affect your sleep, assuming that you do have this predisposition to having problems going to sleep if you have high caffeine or any caffeine at all? Well, the obvious ones are going to be the tisanes, otherwise known as herbals, because the large majority of them don't have any caffeine at all, so you don't have to worry about them at all. So whether that be, of course, chamomile, peppermint, rooibos, red raspberry leaf, the ones we sell like Shanti, there's just tons, right? There's rose hips. All these are not caffeinated. So if you like to drink these at night, that's great. We've talked about in the episode on tisanes that are good for sleep: chamomile, lavender, rooibos. These are all what we would call somnolytic, meaning that they can induce sleep. So drink those at night for sure. So all the tisanes. The only exception really in terms of the tisanes/herbals that don't have caffeine would be mate. So mate, yerba, is essentially a shrub that's grown in South America, and that is really the only well-known non-Camellia-sinensis plant that has caffeine. I would not be drinking that at night. Okay, so let's look at Camellia-sinensis teas. First thing I would tell you, and maybe some of you grown up drinking tea bag tea might be surprised to hear this, I would tell you not to drink decaffeinated fill in the blank, decaffeinated black teas, decaffeinated whatever. And I would say for you coffee drinkers too, I'm not a big fan of decaf coffee, because you got to remember, like, what do they have to do to the Arabica bean, or what do they have to do to the tea leaves to make them decaffeinated? And so they get processed. There's a lot of refinement and a lot of processing. And for them to make these things that are inherently caffeinated, not caffeinated, is not all natural. And so I would tell you not to drink these things. So you have options. So for example, going back to the chai, if you like a chai tasting tea at night, you have options. Rooibos chai is very common because rooibos has a natural kind of vanilla undertone. And so we call it red bush chai because one of the names for rooibos is red bush or red tea. So we have a rooibos chai, or red bush chai, that is rooibos, so not caffeinated, but then it's got cinnamon, cardamom, cloves. So it mimics the taste of a chai tea that you like. So drink something like that. I would tell you to drink something like that, even though you can put milk and sugar in that if you like, even though that the taste profile is not going to be the same identically, of course, as a black tea chai. I would tell you to drink that over a decaf black tea chai. Now, let's look at some low caffeinated Camellia-sinensis teas or teas. So the biggest one, and we have an episode here, is on hojicha. Hojicha is a Japanese green tea that's been roasted. And because of the roasting and because of where they're getting the leaves and so forth, it is pretty low caffeinated, depending on what estimates, maybe 10 milligrams of caffeine. And to put that into context, the average tea, whether it be green or whatever, or white, black, the average is about 45 for a cup. And the average coffee is about 90 to 100. So hojicha has a great taste. You can make a hojicha latte. That is very popular in Japan. It's probably the second most popular latte behind matcha latte. And hojicha has a very kind of coffee taste to it, that roastedness, and it does not taste like any other green tea because of the way it's prepared. But hojicha is a great alternative to drink in the evenings because it's almost, there's more caffeine in chocolate than there would be in hojicha. Another one would be kukicha, which I know sounds the same. So we do sell hojicha, we don't sell kukicha. So kukicha is a Japanese tea as well. And what they do is they're getting pretty much the stems and the branches of the tea plant, Camellia sinensis tea plant. So the leaves, especially the buds, is where you get the most caffeine. So with the branches and the stems, there's no caffeine. So you can drink kukicha at night. I would say that kukicha isn't as popular as hojicha in terms of taste profile, but just so you know that it's out there as well. And as we talked about in a previous episode, where you're getting the leaves is important. So if you're getting mature leaves, like older leaves, which are going to be lower on the plant, they tend to have less caffeine. If you're getting the stems, if you're getting the branches, they have no caffeine. And if you go up the plant to the buds have a lot of caffeine because caffeine is created by the plant to ward off insects from biting it. So the buds, of course, are like little children and they need to be protected. So don't be drinking any teas that come from the bud. So this is going to be like gyokuro, matcha, first flush Darjeeling. These are going to be more high caffeine. So you want to be drinking lower down. So if you are less sensitive to tea, you could drink an oolong in the evening because oolong typically comes from lower down in the plant than, let's say, gyokuro or even sencha. You could drink that. You could drink a pu'er at night. You could drink some of the black teas as well because black teas, there's this misconception that black tea has more caffeine than green tea, white tea. No, a lot of it is based on how long you're steeping the leaves, what temperature you're doing it, the cultivar you're getting it, again, the leaves and other factors. So that's a big misnomer. So in closing, if you like to drink tea or tisanes at night, all the tisanes are good for you aside from mate. If you kind of like a chai profile, you can do something like Robusta chai or Red Bush chai is the way we sell it. You could go with hojicha, which is very low caffeine. You could do kukicha as well. And then you can do oolongs and things like that. So, and then if you're really concerned about it, steep for a shorter time, steep for a lower temperature, and use smaller leaves. Guys, I hope this helps. Until next time, post in the comments. Until next time, take care and God bless.